525,600 minutes.
And what?
How do you measure a year?
Yeah. In daylights,
in sunsets, in midnights, in cups of coffee, in inches, in miles, and laughter and strife.
yeah.
Well, I am here with the man of the hour, man of the day, man of the last 3 decades, the big boss himself, Jimmy Vines.
Thank you. What an introduction.
Did you ever think this day was going to come, that we'd actually have everybody back in the same room again?
Not really, but it's been a reality because of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And we're so grateful that we've been able to, that you and Maureen have been able to contact so many.
Well, there was other
You know, as I've
lots
said
of help.
before,
Yeah.
I'd never thought I'd hear from these people again.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
It was amazing how many actually jumped in. But anyway, let me kind of go down the list here. Okay, we've been working on this for a couple of years. Can you kind of refresh everybody as to how this all
Yes.
got started?
Right. Let me say that there were students that wanted to do this probably as long as 6, 8, 10 years ago maybe, but it never gelled. Someone at one time got a set of index cards with students' names and addresses, and boy, they were working at it, but it didn't work. But the real way it started, Shelley, was 2 years ago when you came over to our place and you saw the scrapbooks that Maureen had made for me for my reunion. And that set you on fire, it set us on fire, and hey, look, what a fan. I ought to be interviewing you.
Oh, no, I don't
You
think
have
so.
done a fantastic job.
Thanks.
You have worked so hard. I know as many as 4 hours a night
Sometimes.
and on the weekends all day, and 100,000 and 411 emails and
Phone calls.
Facebooks and phone calls.
Burning up your phone.
It started really 2 years ago, didn't it?
Well,
with the
I think in
scrapbooks.
earnest, yeah.
And the tape
Yeah,
and
yeah.
the CD.
Well, I had to listen to that for a little while, and you had mentioned the reunion, and I'm thinking, what a good idea, but I didn't have an idea in the world how to contact all these people. Do you go to Seminole High School, see if you can get addresses, and then, okay, it's been 30 some odd years since most of us graduated. Is that going to work? No. So then Facebook just all of a sudden exploded, and that's when Maureen and I started talking about seeing if we could find people that way.
Right.
And then that just kind of came from there. But really, you brought the seed to mind when you said, wouldn't it be great if we could get everybody together? Because that really was never a thought that I had.
A dream come true. Thank you.
Thank you. We wouldn't be doing it if you weren't awesome. So, a lot of former students have been coming from faraway places, and those who lived locally spent months preparing for the event. What do you think that says about you as a teacher, as a person?
Well, I'm just grateful that I have been able to impart some good stuff that I was indoctrinated in. We all have mentors. It's like a pass it on thing. My elementary music teachers, my high school choral director, and my band director really had an impression on me. And I just did what we do as teachers. But I was grateful for a good background that I could bring that to Seminole High School in the form of choral music that my experience, and I was fortunate in that respect, to have done that.
Well, you spent 11 years in the choral department at Seminole. So what were the early years like for you? I know the groups were different than they were before you left. So
it was quite frustrating at first. Seminole had never been to contests, and they asked us to call it festival, not contest, but it was competition with the other schools.
Sure, of course.
And the first, of course, I had been in my teaching before that, and of course in high school. Here again, that was what I had experienced. I had been to contests, and so I wanted to take the students, I wanted to take the kids. May I still call them kids?
I think all of us would be honored. I'd be excited if I got
50-year-old
carded once in a
kids.
while.
You're always our kids. But first contest we went to, we got clobbered in sight reading. I mean, and we made 2s or 3s. I think it was 2s. I believe that's the lowest we've ever made. But we got a set of hymnals from a church. Started sight reading, and we brought it up. And I'm grateful to the students. And I'm grateful, period, because from then on, I think we made superior at every district contest. They have a district and a state contest,
right.
you know. And now state was a little bit different. We made some 2s at state, but we made some 1s too, straight 1s.
You know, the thing that I think when you go in as an underdog, like you said, you know, you got clobbered. I think that the thing that is exciting if you come in as an underdog is it gives you some place to shoot for.
Exactly.
And so you get an opportunity to see, okay, well, this year was lousy, but next year isn't going to be.
Exactly.
You know, so if you got a next year, you can shoot for better.
And students had that yearning, that desire. That was great. That was good at Seminole. They wanted to compete,
everything.
you know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You were they, you know how it is. That
I didn't
feeling
care
of,
what the category was. I was going to stick my nose in there and
See?
see if I could get it. Yeah. I didn't always, but it was fun trying.
you bet.
Yeah.
You did great. You
Yeah.
made 1s and superiors.
Yeah, I did good. But a lot of people did. A lot of people did. Tremendous talent pool.
But there was always one thing that I always expressed: if you don't make a superior, no one ever loses at contests.
No,
you know,
no.
it's a chance a challenge to go on and do better the next time. It's that way in life, you know.
Well, sure. I mean, if everybody always had a good day, if everybody always had the awards that they think that they deserved, then there would never be anything to desire or yearn
Right.
for. So, you know, if you have a day that maybe you're a little off, all right, well, tomorrow's a different day. So
Yeah.
you try again. So
Exactly.
you worked with teenagers who, as we know, can be a handful to teach, let alone trying to teach them how to perform everything from classical to pop music and winning awards. And so your job right away wasn't easy because you were working with that age group, but you also didn't have an easy job because you're taking kids who are listening to the Beach Boys and you're trying to teach them Vivaldi. So, you know, clearly that's a challenge.
Right.
What do you think was the key to your success? Was it the background and the teaching that you got, or how do you think you got us motivated?
I think the students really had a yearning for doing the so-called classical music. The beauty of it, I tried to express and to show, and I think they kind of fell into that, but they did it because they wanted to. It's a little bit different now.
Yeah.
In a lot of the young people now, they sometimes, because of all the music that they hear on TV and on the, what do you call it, MP3s, MP4s, MP9s, MP3s and all that, they don't want to do the so-called classical music. I've heard that from teachers. But then it seemed that they were ready for Palestrina, for Vivaldi, and yet we did the pop also. That was fun, you know.
It really was fun.
It was great, and it was fun to harmonize.
It was.
We had students that came back after school. You know, you were one of them. And that's, the human voice is God-given. It's, you know, that's a simple statement, but it's true, and we can express that in so many ways, and we did. Popular music, and I was grateful because they latched on to the classical also.
Well, I think the fact that you made it a trade-off was kind of neat too. Well, if we're going to do this, then okay, now we're going to settle in, and we're going to do Bach.
Yeah.
Or, you know, so
make a deal with you.
Well, but you know what? Then after you get into it, you
You
realize,
love it,
that was
right?
good. Yeah, you really liked
Yeah.
it. So I think that, being exposed to all those things is good. It's a shame that, kids don't allow themselves to do that as much.
That's true, and it has a lot to do with the teacher too.
I agree.
Because if you give in to that,
Hmm.
then they don't ever have the exposure.
Correct. Yeah.
I know when I was teaching elementary school up in Georgia, one of the principals up there, I had 5 elementary schools. And
Oh, my goodness.
one of the and I had a high school every afternoon in one county in Georgia.
Mhm.
One of the principals said, "Now, when you go to this place, don't sing anything classical. They don't want anything." That's the first place that I did it.
Good for
And
you.
the kids loved it.
Mhm.
Some of them came to school barefooted,
Mhm.
but they loved that type of music and fell right in.
Well, it was
with it.
different.
Yeah,
People get bored. They get bored with the things that they think that they like.
right.
And it's kind of like if you're, eating salad dressing and you think that you only like Caesar, well, then you try Thousand Island and you're thinking, well, where has that been all my life?
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think it's probably the same thing. Okay, let's see. You said that your time in the Seminole Choral Department meant a great deal to you and your family. I know that it meant a great deal to you as far as a job, but how do you think that affected your family, having them so involved?
We were all like a family.
Mhm.
And sometimes I had to be in 2 places at one time. So Maureen, my wife, took
Mhm.
the group out. And they loved her too.
Mhm.
Our daughters grew up
Mhm.
with Seminole singers, concert choir, and used to sit on their laps, remember? In the
And
bus.
She told me about Carrie
In the
Calvert,
bus.
that she fell asleep in her lap, and then
Yeah.
she'd wake up and she'd move on to somebody else.
and Janet Hall mentioned the other night that Lisa used to sit on her lap and look up, and she would say something like, "You've got on too much makeup." like
I
like
know
a kid would say,
I
or
know,
something
I
like
know, she was so honest.
But they grew up with our kids in the choral department. So it was like a family. It really was. And this is why it's so great to bring this back. And of course they're grown and have families. I've got 2 grandsons,
Well, the thing that I think that all of us, at least, I don't know, I shouldn't speak for other people, I should only just speak for myself, but the thing that I remember so much was that it was the first time in my life that I felt like I could do anything that I wanted to do, because you said that we could do this, and we did. And so I think, and I've heard others say that to me too, as we've been preparing for all of this. They've been saying that, they had low self-esteem, or they had a poor life at home, or whatever the case may be, and they just didn't think they could do anything. They were shy, didn't have a good social life or whatever, and then they get into choir, and they have people that they work with.
Yes.
And they see something that starts out as just a little something, turns into a much bigger something.
Right.
And they do it as a group, and it gave them a feeling like, okay, well, when I graduate, maybe I can do this and so.
Yeah.
And I think that as a result of what I did in choir, that I think it made me more assertive, because
Yes.
I knew that I could do things, because I got in there and slugged it out in contests, and I won
Right.
stuff. And, and even if I didn't win it, I still went in and slugged it anyway.
Sure.
So it gives you a feeling like, you can do this.
Isn't it great that
It is.
it can work that way?
Yeah, it does. And it did for me anyway, but I don't know, not everybody. But okay, so what were some of your best memories as a choral teacher?
You've heard this one before.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And you know what's coming.
I do, yes.
Miami, 1979.
I think so,
I'm going to
yeah.
get in trouble if I do that. But anyway, state contest. We did a spiritual by Norman Luboff. It was a 6 or 8 part a cappella, key change about 3 or 4 times. And we sang that at the end. We always did 3 numbers. We sang that at the end. The judges liked us to do the spirituals at the end. We sang it, and before I could turn around and take a bow, Mary Madama said, "Look, Mr. Vines, look, look." So I turned around, and one of the three judges, they have three judges sitting in the audience writing critique.
Right.
One of the judges had stood up, and he was clapping.
You know, Maureen said that to me too. She said it happened during Ezekiel.
Ezekiel saw the wheel.
Yeah, in 1976. That
Yeah,
she was
see,
sitting behind
we
him.
had done it before.
Mhm,
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was a real winner, and the kids did fantastic.
Well, considering that most of the time they didn't really even show you that they had faces, you know, they were writing most of the time to
that's
see
true.
them actually
That's right.
stand up and,
Yeah.
and you know, and you could see
he
their
quit
delight.
writing and stood up, and
Yeah,
clapped.
yeah. Oh, that you knew you nailed it.
Yeah, right. Now, I want to say that memorable occasions, one of the great gifts, as I mentioned already, is to be able to sing, to use the voice. What a great way of communication. All moods, happy, sad, frustrated, everything, you know. And the fact that we can do that, you can see in your audience, you can see the smiles, you can see the expression. We worked hard in the classroom. I mean, really hard. But when we got out, it was like, hey, we're enjoying this, and they are too, because you could see it with the body language. And
I think it also, if you could see that you could affect them with what you were doing with your voice, then I think that also added, at least it did for me anyway, I think that added an extra layer of confidence.
right, it
Because
did.
you knew you could communicate on a level that would affect people.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, we had, speaking of making happy, you know, remember we sang at a lot of trailer parks and some nursing homes. And
Yeah.
we went to South St. Pete, sang for a nursing home, and there was an elderly lady there in the audience. And she got so carried away, she got up and started dancing with the boys.
I remember you
You
talking
remember
about
that?
that, yes.
And I
remember you talking
got
about
to
it,
tell you
yeah.
about this too. You've heard this, but maybe not everyone. We were singing, Seminole Singers was singing the West Side Story. And I think there's something in there about driving a taxi in San Juan or something like that.
Yeah.
And they miss the words. And you know, when one person misses a word, kind of the whole group does it too.
Well, sure, because they're all looking to see what you're doing.
Well, they were doing
Yes.
choreography. I was not directing that. But
Yeah.
anyway, they said instead of driving a taxi in San Juan, they said driving a TV in San Juan. So the next day when I walked in the classroom, someone had taken chalk and had drawn a big, huge TV on the chalkboard with 4 wheels.
Oh, I think I saw the picture of that.
So that was
Yeah.
a memorable occasion,
Yeah.
our happy times. Now, all of the performances were memorable, and I really couldn't single out one or two, except that one with the judge standing up, because
Yeah.
we really felt that one. We were grateful for that,
Yeah.
and the kids deserved it. You know, it was a showstopper. You know.
You know, the thing that I remember when we did Ezekiel Saw the Wheel in '76, I've listened to that CD over
on there,
and
yeah.
over and over. And I mean, my mother has that CD, and she has played it for
See?
our family and
Yeah.
their friends. And they're all just astounded
Yeah.
by the blend. And even if they don't like a cappella spirituals, they can't get over it.
I know,
I mean,
yeah.
it was just remarkable work. So it's just so cool to be able to do that.
Did you sing the Abendlied Zigot evening song to God? Okay.
No.
We did that one in German. That was one that preceded the Ezekiel
Yeah.
down at Miami. But I remember, in fact, that is a great recording, and you were in there.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my was. That was
Yeah.
awfully a cool day. That was cool. Can you tell me why it is that you, out of all the teachers at Seminole High School, seem to go through a record number of yardsticks each year?
Well, I guess you could kind of wrap that up in just a real quick sentence, like it got their attention. I had a student one time that I think made one in shop, and it was about a 1/4 inch thick, nice board, beautiful, long thing, you know. I think he took it home, and his grandfather helped him. He shellacked it, the boy did, and drilled a hole, put a leather strap in there, and it was beautiful.
Wow.
Except one day I had a substitute, and I was not there, and it got stolen. So I never saw it again.
Oh my goodness.
But
Think of all the money you probably would have saved if you'd been able to keep that.
I don't know whether I could get by with that today or not.
Probably not. I think they'd probably jail you.
Yeah.
But it certainly worked for us.
They would probably what?
You probably worked for us, though.
75!
Well, okay, let me look at my question here. Most, if not all, have told me that the time that they spent in your groups was some of the best times of their lives. I mean, I totally echo that. Where they learn teamwork, discipline, gain valuable insight into who they are, where they can actually go. How does that make you feel hearing about all that after the fact?
It makes me feel great. I'm so grateful that I could have a part in that. And again, I just did what we as teachers do, you know, but I'm grateful, so grateful. And what you said a while ago kind of summarizes all of that. That self-confidence, how they react in society. And you know what? We can fly the flag. We've got about 6 or 8 people that are professionals and have made CDs. You're one of them, you know.
Well, yeah, it was a long time ago.
And but I've seen what you said a while ago about self-esteem.
Yeah.
And it's great that it's carried over. I've seen shy people that you never would think would have the lead in Oklahoma, and they've come across.
Yeah.
You know.
No, you were totally amazing, and the thing that I guess I find disturbing these days is that number crunchers on a local and state level, they're looking to slash funding any way that they can out of the state and local budgets, and it seems to just cut into student needs. And do you think that, in spite of lean times on our budget, that music education is a necessary part of the school curriculum?
Yes, definitely. Music, not only music education, but arts, humanities, all of that. Because, and we've said it right here, it makes the person, you know. It's such an important part of life. Poetry, all of that together. Because they have a chance to succeed, and it makes them more sensitive.
Sure.
To appreciate beauty more, nature more. And we need to keep it in. We need to fight for it because they are trying to cut it all out. And
I guess you can't learn all of that sensitivity in algebra.
that's right.
Yeah.
You can't.
Well, is there a personal message that you'd like to share with your former students?
Yes. Keep the faith. Keep singing. Keep smiling. Pass it on. And I want to mention a proverb. It's like 5 words. It's an African proverb. And it relates to the past, to me, and what went on before with my music mentors, and what it applies to all of you now. And I didn't mention a while ago when I mentioned the CDs, we've got music teachers, several. And they will, and some of them are already seeing what I'm seeing, and they're grateful. It's this cycle, this pass it on, you know. And their students, it'll keep going. But the proverb is an African proverb, and it goes like this: I am because we are.
Beautiful.
I love you all. We love you.
Love you too.
All of us. My family and I.
We love you too. Thank you.
Thank you.